Okay, here are some practice questions for Python. The first question is find the value of k and print it. So we have two variables a and another variable k. You can type in print k. It should print the a times 3, so it should say 48. The next question is print your name. So you can make a variable called your name and then put your name in a string with apostrophe and run. So it should print out that string. The next question is print the answer to 20 times 34. So you can use the math syntax in Python. So we can say answer is 20 times 34, and then type in print answer. The next one is make Tina draw a triangle. So this is using a library called Turtle, and it has Tina built into this library. The first statement says that we're importing a library called Turtle, and then we're assigning the variable Tina to a thing that's from the library. There's this function called Turtle. And we're also assigning the shape of this Tina that we just assigned. We're making it the turtle shape, which is built into the library. So if you press run, Tina moves forward 40 and then left 90 degrees. So for example, if I keep that going, so reading it sequentially, Tina goes forward 40, left 90, and then forward 40 again. What we want to do is make a triangle, so we can make it turn left 120, which is now kind of like angled a bit more than the 90 degrees. We can make Tina go forward. You can make Tina move forward again, and then left another 120 degrees so that Tina returns back to the original location. And we also need to make Tina go forward again. So there's the triangle. You can also make this into a list. So we can create a list maybe over here. So we state the list number, or we can call it even just list equals, and we use the brackets 1, 2, 3. And then this is acting as like step 1, step 2, step 3. We can say for number in list. So this was repeated a couple of times. We can just make a for loop, and this variable here saying number is, you can make up any name that you like, but it's basically saying you're iterating through this list. So for each number in this list, so there's 3 numbers, you're going to do this statement, Tina.forward 40, and then Tina.left 120. I'll erase the original statements. I also indented it a bit because of this for loop as part of the syntax. So it's going to do number 1 first in the list. It will do this command, then it'll do, it finished 1, then it will do 2 in the list, it'll do this command, it'll finish, and it'll go to 3, it'll do the command. So there's a triangle using a for loop. To change the color to blue, we can do tina.color and type in blue. So this is modifying this original variable, and it's pulling this from the library and changing it based on this input, which we say blue. You can also maybe experiment, maybe red. So these are built into the library. The next thing is make Tina draw a shape. So here's that number list. I press run, similar to the last example. So it's going through this list, and for each number in the number list, Tina moves forward. It's actually multiplying by that number that we start with. So let's start with the first one. So for number in number list, we're iterating through this list, it starts with the number 1. So we're on step 1. Tina.forward. So Tina is moving by an amount of 10, but we're also multiplying it by that number. So Tina's first moving by 10, then Tina rotates left by 60 degrees. And then it goes to the next number, which is 2. So the second step, Tina goes forward 2 times 10, which is 20. And then Tina turns left 60. Let's do some crazy things here. Maybe we can change it to 10 degrees. The spiral might be like, oh yeah, much smoother. We can do 100. We can even do, how about number times 100? So we're also taking that number as an input. So we're changing the angles based on this list. And you can do whatever you like for making a shape. The next question, what's the value? So we have pseudocode. So this is code that you can read. It's very human readable. We have a variable 2 and a counter, which is another, it's a variable, but we call it a counter to be clear about what this variable is doing. You can call it anything that you like. Again, it's a variable. So while counter is less than 2, a equals a times 2, and the counter equals counter plus 1. So let's try number 6. Let's make this into Python so we can read it. A equals 2, counter equals 0, while counter is less than 2, and then we add the colon. So now we're in this while loop. A equals a times 2, counter equals counter plus 1. Then we go back, and once all of that is done, we can print a. So let's press run. So the answer is 8. Let's see how it got there. So let's call this print counter equals, and then we'll print another statement, counter. Then let's print another statement, a equals, and print a. So this is before the loop. Let's say starting counter and starting a. So this is what we'll see at the start of this loop. I put this beginning statement in quotes to make it a string, and then this is not a string. I just want to actually say what the variable is, and same with the a. I made it in a string, so I can put whatever I want in the string without conflicting with any variables. And this a is just the variable a. So I press run, and let's do one more thing. Let's say print. Actually, we can kind of say here, let's do a print like a little dash mark like this. And I'll put that at the end so that it shows that it's the end of the loop. So let's actually say end of loop and press run. Okay. And then let's say here, print final answer and the a. So this print is outside of this loop. You can tell that it's not indented. All of this is indented. So I want to recap. I made a while loop. The counter will be in this like condition of the while loop. It says while the counter is less than 2, and we're going to look at what is the counter entering the loop, what is the value of a entering the loop. So and then it does its thing. Then it ends that first loop basically. Whatever you get, it goes back to the very beginning of this while loop and checks the counter again to see if this in the condition is still true. While this whole thing is true, it'll run the loop. When it's no longer true, it'll stop running the loop. Then after the loop stops, this whole thing stops, you will go out of the loop and it'll do this print final answer, print A. So I click run. The starting counter, let's say entering the loop, our counter is 0 because our initial counter value is 0. And then also our initial A value is 2. So starting counter 0, starting A is 2. It does the thing in the loop and then it ends. So I was making sure that we can just see like one loop at a time. It does the thing and then it enters the loop again. So now counter is 1 because this statement right here, counter equals counter plus 1, it means that you take your original counter and add 1 to it each time. So 0 plus 1 is 1. That's how we get this 1 here. And then the A, it just doubles, A times 2. Our original A is 2, so we plug it in here. 2 times 2 is 4. Once you go through this loop, it just does that to the A. And you can see in the second loop, starting counter equals 1, starting A equals 4. The counter is 1, which is less than 2, so that means it runs the loop again. And then the loop ends, and the final answer is 8. So it ran this. The 4 times 2 is 8. The counter then becomes 2. 2 is not less than 2, so it exits the loop. Final answer is 8. Let's try this one. What's the value again? So let's try this other example of a while loop. So going through this by hand, it says find the answer by hand. So we start with these variables. While k is less than or equal to 2, so we can kind of start like, I'm going to use the hashtag so that it's a comment in Python, so it's not running anything. So it'll say, loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. I'm just making up some loops. So we're starting off with a equals 2 and k equals 0. Oops. So k is 0, so 0 is less than 2. That's definitely true. So we're entering the loop first, the first time. We're going to look at a equals a plus 100. So it's pretty much 2 plus 100 because a is 2. And your k equals 0 plus 2. I'll actually put an equal sign. So that's 102. K is 2 now. We check the condition again. So 2 is less than or equal to 2. That is true. So now we're entering loop 2. Let's do it again. A equals 102 plus 100. And k equals 2 plus 2. So that makes it 4. And so to recap from here, k is 4. And since k is 4, 4 is not less than or equal to 2. That means it stops the loop, and you end up with the value of 202 as your answer. And the last one, we're going to calculate the mean. So we have a list of grades here. What we can do is make a list called grade list and put this in here, 30, 34, 22, 10, 24, 29. Then we can start like declaring a variable called mean. So it's a number. Let's start off with 0. Let's make a for loop for grade in grade list. we're going to iterate through each of these. Let's start by adding this number to that mean. So we can say mean equal, or let's say, so usually you can do like this, mean equals mean plus grade. And here let's actually print it so you can see what happens in this loop. So you start off with 34. We're going through each of these numbers in this list. So mean equals mean plus grade. So 0, starting off with 0, plus 34 is 34. And then we go through the list again. We're going to the second number, 22 plus the previous number. So it's 34 plus 22. That makes it 56. Then we keep going. There's a 10 here, so we add 10. So 56 plus 10 is 66. Then the next number is 24. 24 plus 66 is 90. And then there's the last number, 29. 29 plus 90 is 119. So that gives you the top part of the mean, because you know a mean is adding up these numbers, all these numbers, and then dividing it by the number of numbers that there are. So we have 119, and then we have to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So we can just do that. We can say print mean divided by 5, and then it'll just be 23.8. I just did a quick print statement, like I took that number and then divided it by 5. This mean, for example, if you want it cleaner without that shortcut, I can say mean equals mean divided by 5. Then I can print it. And then to clean this up too, instead of in this for loop, mean equals mean plus grade, another way to state this in Python is this plus equal sign. And I can delete this first term. So this means mean gets, like you take the number mean, but you add a grade to it each time. So plus equals. Press run, and it's the same thing. We're adding grade to the mean each time. Then we divide it by 5, and then we print the final answer.